Hello, good evening. Welcome to Vision Quest. I'm Dawn Diggity, your host, and I'd like to introduce my fabulous co-host.
Wait, you just said you're the host.
I'm the host.
Oh, here we go.
My co-host,
everybody.
psychic medium Chris George.
She's
easy. It's not time for the co-host.
Wow.
All right.
She says, should I take the opening today? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Why not? Go ahead. She's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And then bam, right away, I'm the co-host. I mean, that quick, I'm replaced. Unbelievable.
It happens,
Anyway, so Diggity, I'm really excited about tonight's show. So what people don't know is our guests tonight are two very, very close personal friends of mine. Gina Bankston, who is known as the Parafox, and internationally loved Bob Christopher, who is the star of Ghost Detectives. Bobby, why don't you bring them on? And I want people to see them right away. There they are, two of my favorite people in the world who happen to actually be a couple as well. How you guys doing tonight?
Awesome. Just so great to see you.
Well, this is like deja vu all over again. So with people, let me just give people a little bit of
our history,
a little background. So I used to do a show called Second Sight for like 10 years. And in the 10 years, I actually had 4 co-hosts, okay? First one was Lucifer. I don't mention her by name. The second one was Victor the Voice Furman, who he was very good at what he did. He was basically a professional radio guy. Then came one of my favorites was River Wildfire Moon. I had a great rapport with her. And then she had to stop doing the show. And she was really upset about it because she didn't want to screw me over because we had become such close friends. And I said, okay, well, let me think about who I want to have as my co-host. She goes, I know who it has to be. I said, don't tell me anything. Give me a day. All right. So when I knew who it was. I knew right away I was going to pick Gina. She's one of my closest friends in the world. I mean, we're very much on the same page and whatnot. So the next day she FaceTimes me, River does, and she says, you have to have Gina Bankston as your co-host. I'm like, well, it's funny you should say that because that's the person who I was going to ask. So we were in complete agreement on that. And Gina had never really done radio before. She'd been a guest on a few shows, I believe, but she'd never, hosted a show. And I told her, I said, I really don't have many rules. We have a huge show. We have a lot of listeners, but the rules are simple. If you don't agree with me, call me out. If you don't agree with our guest, do not hold back. Don't pussyfoot around. Don't sugarcoat anything. I don't want you to love our guests just because they're our guests. I want you to, hold them to the fire. If you don't agree with them, I want you to call them out on it the same way I do. And I'm going to say it took 3 shows. By the time we did our 3rd show, I mean, she was a pro at the 3rd show. And that's why when I left the show, I said, you know what, Gina, it's time for me to go, but I'm leaving the show to you. I mean, who else can I leave it to? I mean, you by that time you were an absolute professional at being a host, and you took Second Sight and you made it into the Fox Den, which is doing phenomenal.
First, I went to the Fox Den, and it was just me for a long time. And then a person, Mama D,
right,
who had us on her show, you on her show, me on her show. Then we're doing that again. I don't even know who was on whose show. And I said, you know what? You should come and just co-host with me a couple times.
She does a good job.
She's never left.
Yeah, that says a lot. And she's actually a nice person.
Now it's the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D.
That's it. That's great. So, and then we had Bob Christopher into the picture, and I actually met Bob. When did we do Burn Bray? How many years ago was that? 6 years ago. So 6 years ago was the first time I actually got to meet Bob. Bob came to Burn Bray. He was like our celebrity paranormal expert, and we hit it off right away. Do you remember that first meeting, Bob?
Oh yeah, you showed up in a Superman costume,
and he had you had Superman. He had Superman as well. He had the Superman shirt. You had Superman other things.
Yes, and we had the famous picture with you showing the shirt and me showing the underwear. Yeah. But that was a great event. And I remember I actually read you the first time at that event, if I remember right.
You did.
That was a long time ago. And you guys have not stopped since. I mean, you guys are always doing something. You got so many events. Dawn, is there anything you want to ask them before we get going?
Me?
You.
Hi, Dawn. Hi. It's funny that he didn't foresee having me as his co-host like 6 years later. You couldn't predict that I was coming at some point.
Well, when I decided to do a show, who was the first person I asked to work with me?
Well, I mean, you needed the celebrity for the ratings. I understand, but
You saved the best for last.
Bob, do you have to deal with this with her?
Hey, wait a second there.
A lot of our listeners. So we've done. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gina.
John is equal with me.
When we did our show together, and we were talking about this before the show, a lot of our listeners were very or somewhat knowledgeable in the paranormal.
Definitely.
Now the show that we're doing now is more of psychic, based, obviously, because I'm not so much into the paranormal community the way I used to be. So I want to ask more questions about like the easier stuff, so people get a feeling about the paranormal. Now, one question that I get asked on every show I'm on is when did I know I wanted to be a psychic? When did I know I was a psychic? So I want you both to answer that question. When did you know you loved the paranormal? What was that moment where you did something where you said, okay, this is what I want to do with my life?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, when I was young, I saw my grandfather appeared to me when he passed away. And, he was saying he was a little short Italian, and he stuttered. It was Nick Steamboat Martoni. And we could not go to the house while he was passing, none of us children.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up in the morning and I told my mother, I said, Mom, Grandpa Nick was at the foot of my bed and he was telling me that they're grabbing my feet, they're grabbing my feet, they're grabbing my feet. And she just started crying. And I'm like, what's the matter? She said, well, Grandpa passed away last night. And the funny thing was while he was passing away and like that week up to that point, he kept telling everybody, my aunts and uncles, that he kept seeing like gremlins at the foot of his bed, grabbing his feet and trying to grab his blankets. We didn't know any of that,
Right.
So that always like stuck in my head. And then a couple of years later, when my grandmother died, she appeared, I could see her mouth moving, but I couldn't hear anything.
Right.
So there was always that spark. I've always been drawn to all the shows and everything. When I found out you could actually do this, though, like a team, and I can't even remember who it was that first came to me and started talking about teams. I think it might have been Rebecca, my massage therapist, actually. And I was like, really? We can just go, and investigate these places. And she's like, yeah, we go and we make case reports, we do this, we do that. And I said, oh, well, sign me up. And it's like an addiction.
Well, I know you're addicted. I mean, I've never seen anybody have more EVPs in her computer than you. I've never, ever in my life. And I know a lot of people. You have more than anybody I've ever seen. Now, Bob, what about you? What was it that made you say, okay, this is what I want to do?
Well, I actually grew up with in a haunted house, like the most haunted place I have ever been in my entire life.
Really?
And I've been to a lot of stuff, and it was really bad. But it got so bad that it was like a normal way of life. Because back then it was taboo. There wasn't all these ghost shows, and
Right.
You couldn't go to your neighbor and say you had a ghost in your house. They'd lock you up.
That's right.
Yeah, you go to a priest and they say you're imagining things, and so there was actually no help. And we just kind of dealt with it for years and years and years. And, I made a pact with myself that I would actually help people with their paranormal problems after that, because I didn't want people to go through what I went through. I mean, it was just absolutely insane, some of the stuff I've gone through.
I think it was yesterday I put up a snippet of the book that I've been writing for forever.
Yeah, since I've known you and before. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. About a wow moment. And I had my wow moment many years ago. Was there a wow moment for each of you when you went on an investigation? Like, oh my God, this is real. Where it just like blew you away. What was it for each of you?
Oh my God, I got so many.
I know you do.
But the first one was when the little girl's spirit ran right through me. I didn't even think that was a possibility, but I'll never forget that.
Where did that happen at?
I hate to say, but at RHA. And
Okay.
and just downstairs in the basement, and it was really funny the way that it happened. I was with my Staten Island team, and we were filming in the mortuary, like they say the morgue, and it's really the kitchen, but
Mhm.
they call it a morgue. So we were filming in there. We heard a noise out in the hallway. So I went out to the hallway. They heard another girl that was with me, had the camera, went back in because she heard the noise inside the thing, but I kept still hearing the noise out here. So all I have is a millimeter and a flashlight in my hand,
Right.
and that's it, right? So I can't record this. And I hear little footsteps running down the hall and up, at me, and you hear, really the pitter patter, right?
That's
And I'm
awesome.
going, guys, because the millimeter is going like from 0 to off the chart. I'd never seen it go that high as this thing is getting close to me. It hit me so hard that it like knocked the wind out of me. My hair poofed, everything. So it went right through me and right out. There's a door beyond that actually goes outside that you're not supposed to use. And I think she ran right through there. So now I'm screaming. So then the girl comes out with the camera, and I'm going to run in, and we crash together, and it was just hilarious at that point, because that's all you got for like evidence of this besides what happened to me. But the feeling that I got, that whoa,
And what about you, Bob? Was there something that made you say, "Oh my God, wow, I did not expect that"?
Again, I have to revert back, to my childhood. I mean, we
Really?
saw
Wait. So you've been to some of the most haunted places around, and really going back to your childhood,
Oh, yeah.
home? Wow.
I'm getting the chills just thinking about it. With all the stuff that we went through. I mean, it was traumatizing. I had
Sure.
bed levitate. We had crosses disappear. We would see apparitions walk through the wall on a daily basis. Giant blue balls bouncing across, like out of nowhere. They'd materialize and then they'd go out the window or something. And classic haunting, like chains rattling and doors slamming.
Yeah, weird
But
stuff.
the wow moment was, later on, we actually got to investigate the house. My dad passed away, and my mom would never let us come in and investigate. She'd want anything stirred up in there. So when she sold the house, she says, "You have 12 hours, bring the team in. You want to come in, investigate, you can investigate." So we investigated for 12 hours, and we only got one EVP, but that was my wow moment because it was directed at me. It said, "You lived here."
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Like, okay, that's enough for me.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
That
pretty
would
cool.
make you go, wow. What about you? You have a question, Dig?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting because they're another paranormal couple. We don't have that many, people that we could say. Like our first date was at a haunted hotel. I
That's
wonder,
right.
how did you guys meet?
We actually met at Haldeman Mansion. I had the mansion to investigate, so we had booked it for that night. But during the day, there was an event going on that Bob was there with ghost detectives. They were doing, so he was teaching the people that were coming in and whatnot, and I was just waiting for all this to leave so I could investigate. But that's actually where I met him. And then I didn't see him again for a while. And then out of the blue, you called me one day.
Yeah.
And we just started talking. And we
We hit it
became,
off.
we became
You're one
really,
of my favorite couples. I could say that. And that's the truth. I want to know. It's a two-sided question. I want to know what you absolutely love about the paranormal and what you absolutely can't stand about it. Because you can't have one without the other.
I love the people and I hate the people. There it is. It's
Perfect.
like it's I mean, we have our very close knit friends, our like paranormal family, that we can trust and that we count on and stuff. And then there's the ones that come in and out of the community and they all want to be Zach Bagans and they want to have their own show and and they go and they do all the wrong things and then they ruin it for all of us,
Drama.
and
Oh
the
my God,
drama
drama.
and the drama.
Well, the drama is, why I kind of like took myself out of, because I used to do a lot of stuff in the paranormal community, events and stuff like that. I just kind of pulled away because, you guys do an event every year in New Jersey. I think in Woodbridge, the Para Unity thing. That's in Jersey, right?
Yeah, that's our friend John and Chris run there.
Paranormal is a really big thing in the paranormal community, and I just have a. I know I'm on the outside of this because people don't agree with me, but I'm not a. The whole para-unity thing I think is kind of like a farce. And Gina, we've had this conversation many times when we had our show, and I know you don't agree with me, but
I flipped that. I really held out hope for so long, and now I'm just like,
it's hard to be unified when everybody is so against everybody. And what used to bother me is I would see somebody put up like this amazing picture, and I would say, that's paranormal. That's an awesome picture. And then all these wannabe paranormal investigators were like, no, that's this, no, that's ridiculous, and they would just shoot it down. But on the other hand, if they would have posted that picture, it would have been a whole different story. And stuff like that used to drive me crazy. And when I think about para-unity, I think of it a little bit differently. I think, okay, I can be unified, but with the people I believe in, the people who I think are true professionals. I don't have a lot of that in the paranormal community. I have you two, I have Tom Galissi, and really, who else do I have? I mean, you are the three that. Well, now Diggity's with me, but I mean, but I'm talking about like real what I would consider a paraprofessional. I feel like you guys do things the right way, and I appreciate that. I respect that. That's why I always say that you three are my go-to when it comes to the paranormal. Now, I don't know if you guys agree with that. If you have your own little group that you really work with, and other people you try and stay away from because you don't like the way they work.
We're
you have that.
We're going to be doing something with another two para couples. One that runs that para-unity that you're talking about, John and Chris, and then the other one, the Bash. The two that run that, which are Pam and Steve Barry, and we're gonna try to do some events with them. So us three couples, we're like the OGs, okay? You know what I mean? We're the old folks, and hopefully we'll set some good examples that people can look up to and come to us if they have questions.
Well, if anybody can do it, I believe that you guys can. Yeah, I remember when I met Bob, and it was at Burn Bray, and I just thought that, wow, this guy's doing things, and I didn't know you. That was the first. I think that was the first time I ever met you. I don't think we were friends on Facebook or anything.
No,
at that point.
no, that's the first time we ever met.
Yeah, and I said to myself, okay, this guy does things the right way, and then right away I knew you were the real deal. I knew that you weren't some fly-by-night investigator, because there's so many of them. You weren't the guy who had the black shirt and said, okay, I'm a paranormal investigator. You were true. I mean, you were like die hard. You had like great equipment and stuff like that. And I want to get into that, because what impressed me the most about you is that you make your own equipment. You make equipment that other shows are buying so they could do what you do. Why don't you tell people about what you do, your company, and what you have to offer and what they do?
Okay, so
She's
we
great.
have Vortex Ghost Gear. So it's www.vortexghostgear.com. We have something for like all the senses and all the claims that people have. If you hear, people hear footsteps going down the hallway, we have a geophone. This measures vibration, and you can set the sensitivity level on this too. So if you have a bouncy floor, you can set it up higher or lower. If it's a very solid floor, you know what I mean? So he makes it very user friendly. And then we have devices that you actually have to come near, proximity like devices. Okay, this is our V Pod. It's like the REM Pod, but sleeker, smaller, and actually has two modes, musical and REM, but you actually have to come in close. So spirit has to manipulate it, okay?
And all these pieces of equipment, they come from investigating ideas. Like we'll be out on an investigation and say, you know what, there should be a piece of equipment to measure this, or something to do this.
Yep.
And
then we have our dome. This is static. So they say when a spirit is going to manifest, they make a static field, like the hair
on the back of your neck stands up, or the hair on your arm stands up.
that's what this measures. Okay, so when a spirit, we have 8 different colors on this. So we use this the most, and we just actually gave 2 of these to Cody and Satori Hawes, right? They just got it, just sending us nice little notes. But if you set these up going all the way down the hall, and as a spirit walks down, they'll light each up as it goes by. Or you can say, can you please light the orange one, the purple one, the green one? And a lot of times they will. And so there's, so many uses for these. That for specific claims, we have haunted trigger objects. So when you say, my keys are missing, grandma's glasses keep going, lost, any kind of item, there's a metal tray here that this is attached to with an alligator clip. This is the unit itself. So you hook up the clip to the tray and you put your object in the tray. When you turn this on, it's light. It has a light. It has an awful sound. I'm going to turn it on for a quick second. It's very loud. So you can have a sound. It's optional. So if you leave it going in another room and the sound goes off, you will get it. But the light, the sensitivity on the top, so you have to monitor it, and get it to the point where whatever's in here, when you touch this light will go off. But you could also put like liquid on there. So you can have a bottle of water. You could have, if you were at a bar,
Shot in a beer.
Yeah. All that kind of stuff. So it depends on where you're at. But you can also wrap that cord around a soft thing too. So it's a specific item thing. So like we've sold those to Ghost Nation, Ghost Hunters. They've used it on their show with great results. They hooked it up to a sword and it actually worked. You can use 2 of them. If you're in Gettysburg, you can hook up one to a Union belt buckle, one to a Confederate belt buckle, and say, whose side are you on? And they'll light which one they're on. Then we have customizable things like these are our
Love it.
Yeah.
our motion boxes.
The detail, the craftsmanship that goes into every piece, though, is
Beautiful.
second to none. I saw them at the show.
Yeah, so they can be anything. Any music can be inside the boxes, so they're fully customizable. So whatever your team logo is or your favorite place to go and hunt, I've done jails, I've done everything, all kinds of stuff. The Victorian Mansion, I put that on there. So any music, any design, but it goes up to 35 feet and it measures not only motion, but it's temperature. So 1 degree lower, 1 degree higher. So if the spirit goes by hot or cold, it's going to set it off. If it goes by in front of it quickly, it's going to turn on and off. If it stays in front of it and keeps moving in front of it, then the music keeps playing.
Wow.
And where it goes so long, you can do a whole hallway, you can do a whole stairwell, so just point it in the right direction.
These are actually the only music boxes that actually pick up cold, because
Right.
most of them are made out of PIR sensors, which is a motion detector you have outside, and they only pick up heat. This was actually built for us by a robotics company specifically for that.
Wow.
And I'll tell you a story about our testing. The one time when we were
That's
testing
funny.
it.
The mad scientist over here.
So I saw these boxes online and they were charging like ridiculous prices for these boxes. And I said, I gotta
And they
make
didn't look
something,
like these.
a little more affordable, but something that actually works, and because none of them have picked up cold at all. So I got this guy to design this, and I'm down the cellar testing it, and I have an ice cube on a fishing line like 30 feet away, and I'm swinging the ice cube on the fishing line and it's going off. So Gina comes down and she's like, what do you do? No, never mind. I don't want to know.
Just turned around and walked away. I don't know, whatever you do, it works. And then one day too, now if you guys aren't familiar with like the little SB7s or the bigger SB11,
Right.
so spirit box, so you can hear at the
I love
time.
other than EVP recordings, the spirit box is what I love.
Yeah, but now we made you one.
Yeah.
But these I said, because I can't read the little box. You know, you need a flashlight in your mouth in the dark with the wires and hook up,
Right.
you know, the what do you call it, the speakers. You can't see the little numbers, which way you're going. I said, Bob, can you make something easy? So it's turn a knob, push a button, pick your speed, right? Boom, boom, done. Right? So you can't be any easier than that. So
Love
it's
the Ghost Box.
slow to fast, right? Now this one here is a design I came up with. I actually made this whole thing. I made the wood. This is a plasma disc. I made it to look like a clock. And this plasma disc we do on other boxes too. Like we have a classic Ouija box that we put the plasma disc on the top. And it's like having a secondary piece of equipment. It's just like having a geophone almost, you know? Geophone's a little better, right? But this will also measure vibration.
Wow.
Am I talking? Okay. But you can ask the spirit, if you set it up across the room, say, can you tap the box once for yes, twice for no? And you can communicate that way. So it's like having two pieces of equipment. You know? And then inside, it's all nice and neat. You can actually hook a portal up to it really easily, you know. But these boxes, we make them out of the cigar boxes, the nice wooden ones, and they can be designed just like I designed, you know, these. They can be anything on them. I do a lot of steampunk boxes and whatnot. So they're also pretty. You can keep them out in your house. You can keep them out in your location because they're very pretty and they're unique. So, you know, a lot of people buy the equipment.
Nobody has mine. I'm the only one in the world that has mine.
That's exactly it. So everybody has, you know, K2. And it's like at the end of the night, well, whose K2 is this? And it's my K2, you know, and you can't say that this is, you know,
Right.
these are my specific items and they're designed just for you. Then, and we're not done.
Isn't she great?
Then we have,
Oh, that's like my favorite.
yes, we have kitties and puppies.
You don't have a cat?
That's awesome.
Diggity. You don't have a
Yeah,
cat?
no, not an animal person.
And then
No,
we
a
have,
paranormal cat.
yeah,
Oh, well, I could do a paranormal dog.
Maybe I'll purchase a paranormal pet for.
No, there's
we
no
have
purchasing.
Schnauzer. We have Schnauzer. And they have two different modes too. So these have the music and REM mode too. So the kids like to play with
My
music,
daughter would probably love that.
definitely.
You won't even realize that there's spirit around there.
Yeah.
But the spirits love these.
I have to say
Love
that I got to see all of their equipment in action, and I've been to the Shanley Hotel with you now like 4 or 5 times, and my favorite was when Bob and Gina were there with your
Aw.
paranormal equipment, just everything that you guys had, and
That was a good night.
it was really awesome. Yeah.
Are
getting to
you
see
guys
it.
coming in December?
What's the date?
no.
December 10th. It's the day after my birthday, so it's the Chris George birthday bash.
And we were there last year for your birthday. We cut the cake with the big machete.
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
I think I have something December 9th. I just set up Dr. Spelman December 9th. I think there's something that weekend. I'm not sure.
I don't
Maybe,
think there is.
maybe.
Well, let me know because it's
No.
a month away. So
Do the
Yeah.
radio when they couldn't do it.
we would love
We
for you
would-
guys to come.
Who knows the 8th?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that we
Yeah.
didn't even get. We said we were going to get to Massachusetts too before the
Well, no,
end.
they're in
Oh
Pennsylvania.
no! Oh, they're in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
We said we would get there before the end of the year.
Yeah, you know, Bob. You know, one thing that I think is really impressive about you, Bob, is that you are the star of Ghost Detectives. I don't know how many episodes you've done. I know it's over 100, though. Correct?
Correct.
So you want to talk a little bit about your show and how people can actually see it?
Sure. We've been on since actually 2011. The last 2 years, we took the last 2 years off. We got picked up by a producer, and it sort of got thrown on the floor.
When I joined,
We
it
had 2
was-
years of filming, and it just went down the drain. So,
Yeah.
but
Bad-
anyway,
bad producer. Bad producer. You know that we went through that together too.
we actually recorded 105 shows for our local Fox station. We were on. They ran us from September until December every year. You can get a hold of us at ghostdetectives.tv. All our shows are on there now. There are 2 seasons right now on Amazon Prime. Actually, you can watch it.
Oh, nice! I can watch it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. You know, I love that. See, because like I said, like everyone who's listening to me, if you respect me, okay, and I think a lot of you do, I respect them, and I respect what they do and how they go about doing it, which leads me to my next question. What, other than your show, which I know is real, other than your show, what show would you say does it the right way? Because I know a lot of them don't. That's my personal opinion. But what do you think of, what show would you say does it the right way?
Ghost Hunters.
The original.
Yeah,
And that's
definitely.
it?
Definitely.
There
There are a few other ones.
Katrina, and you know, she's great. Katrina and Jack, they do really good. Is Satori and Cody doing that?
What about the Dead Files?
I love the Dead Files for
That's with Amy Allen, right?
what it is. Yeah. Oh yeah. I love Amy.
I like that too. You know, I like her. I like him. The one thing I don't like about that show, though, is like she'll say you need a space clearing, but they never do the space clearing, or at least the shows that I've seen. Like,
Yeah.
you have to get somebody to do it.
I haven't watched in a long time. I really don't have time to watch any of them anymore.
In her defense, they do the clearing, but I mean, you only get so many minutes on
Yeah.
TV. Usually, it's like
Mhm.
minutes that you can put on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
You
no.
know,
I actually think she's wonderful. And this what's his name? This Deshavi.
Yeah.
I think he's a really cool guy. I know he recently got a divorce and he moved to Florida, and I don't know what he's doing, but he's also Steve Deshavi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he got remarried. He was with a girl for a while. He went to one of the Salem cons with her, and then they split up, and then he's swore off women for
Well,
like
geez. You
and
could
now he's
listen.
married.
I saw off women too. Look what I got.
The best.
I got a diggity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so what I love doing in the paranormal is I love doing EVPs. You know, could you guys kind of explain how that works and exactly what it is? 'Cause I know a lot of our listeners have no idea what that is.
What would be your favorite equipment too to use?
Well, that's always first and foremost. You know, I mean, it's like everyone asks, what should I get for my first piece of equipment? And it's definitely a recorder. You need a
Mhm.
digital recorder, hands down. You need to record everything you do. The EVP, it's just, if we're sitting in this room and we're talking, like right now, there's probably spirits in this room yapping as well. If we had a recorder going and then we take that recorder and we put it on the computer and you put it on a wave pad, because they speak in what range?
Usually the 800 to 900 hertz range, but that's a little complicated.
Yeah, and then we're up higher, right? So you can tell already by looking,
Mm-hmm.
just looking, all right, if you know what you're looking for, what is the differences between a person's voice and a spirit voice. Usually it sounds like a whisper unless they're really close, and then they can be really loud. They can scream at you. But the things that you hear are amazing. You know,
Amazing.
your first EVP, you just
That's
wow.
It's called electronic voice phenomenon.
Oh yeah.
It's actually something that nobody can explain. It's just a voice that comes on the recorder that just appears. I mean, nobody has ever actually explained it.
Yeah.
You know, an EVP is what got me into the paranormal.
We'll put on
Me a
headphones.
believer too.
Yeah. You know, I had a friend who unfortunately passed away a few years back, and she was known in the community as like an EVP expert. She had the website 1-800-HEAVEN. Okay, phenomenal website. Again, it's not there anymore because she passed or whatever. But I remember she was a friend of a friend, and then she met me, and we just hit it off. I mean, immediately. And she had an in with the I know you guys are gonna laugh, with the Maury Povich show, and she said that they wanted a new paranormal team for the Maury Povich show, and she says, I won't do it unless you do it with me. You're the only psychic, you know, that I feel comfortable with, that I believe in. And I'm like, oh okay, why not? I'll do the Maury Povich show, you know. And from there, I got like really into the paranormal. I was on the show like maybe I think 7 times. I did all kinds of investigations for them, and that's what actually got me into the paranormal was my listening to my first EVP recording. I said, okay, this is cool.
Yep. Yep.
You know,
And what I loved when I worked with you, when we were doing it, you know, psychics always want to have that validation, right? So he'll whisper something to me, or he'll pass me a piece of paper. I'll ask the questions, and then every time,
you know, and thank you for bringing that up. You know, see, I've listened to a lot of paranormal teams say that they don't like having psychics on their team, and I don't understand that. Listen, if it's a fake psychic, I understand. If it's somebody who says, "Well, I feel this," you know, I get the whole theatrical part of a lot of fake psychics. But if you have like a reputable psychic, and I'm not just saying me, there's plenty of decent psychics out there, and they can add something to the investigation. Why not use them? And being a psychic is, I could say there's a spirit here telling me his name is you know, Frank or Jim or whatever. If you as the investigators can't get it on your recordings to, you know, validate what I'm saying doesn't mean anything. It's just, I'm just another person. But if I could say, okay, they told me that they're a sex offender, and then you get on your recording something to that, like you were saying, when we did that investigation up in Massachusetts in that place, remember where they had all that sex stuff going on?
Oh my God!
People kept coming to me, and everything we asked them, they validated, and to me that's significant. So
Yep.
that was a hell of a day.
Well, we even drew out a chart. And that's when I was getting all the EVPs saying, "Who told you that? Who told him that?" They're like arguing with each other.
Yeah.
So much so. And oh my God, that was insane.
That was insane. I've had a lot of amazing EVP sessions, but the 3 that stand out to me was that one at the Stanley Hotel with my friend Jennifer. That was just probably the greatest I've ever been part of, even better than what we did that day, that was phenomenal. And then I think it was the first para party. It was you, me, and Tammy.
Yep.
That was a phenomenal session as well.
That place was so cool. It was the Yankee Peddler Hotel. So it had the old part, and then they added on the new part. You could tell by walking down the hall, you were like walking in a, you know.
I remember that was our first big event, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And then
so that event was called Para Party. And what happened was, one day I was at work and I said to myself, you know, there's all these events with the paranormal and the psychic, and it's all about business and whatnot. I said, what if we just get the psychic community and the paranormal community together and just have a party? And we had a weekend, and what we did was we rented the Yankee Peddler Inn, which was this old hotel in Connecticut, and very haunted. And we had an event. You know, we did some psychic stuff just to have fun, and you know, then we had a pool party. We had the actual event where we had the actual party, and it was phenomenal. And people still ask me, when are we going to do it again?
We were shooting a sizzle reel too, then.
Well, that sizzle reel is what, if you remember, after that sizzle reel is when my co-host left me.
Yep.
You know, and to this day, I still don't understand completely the reason why. But shortly after that, if you remember, River was like she would come on as a guest host with us sometimes. And when he decided that he didn't want any part of the show anymore, which I don't think was a great decision, but that, you know, it is what it is. And then that's when River became my full-time host right after that.
Yep.
That was a wild weekend. All right. So now,
well, I would ask that.
Yeah. You know, so you guys have been to so many places, and I know, Bob, you already talked about your childhood home. What about like all these famous places?
What would you say is
what's the most haunted
place you've ever been?
Oh my good God.
And there's a lot of, I mean, you've been to Penhurst, you've been to Rolling Hills, which I'm dying to go to. No, you're saying no.
Maybe it's Bob's childhood home, and maybe we should, is it on the market? Like, can we get in?
No, actually, I drive by there once in a while, and after that was sold, like, I stayed away from there for a while, for about I could say a good month or two. And I drove by and a Mexican family bought it. And we drove by the house and they had like this 4-foot crucifix on the front of the house. I was like, really?
That's got to
Yeah.
say something.
But I think though his sister seen things, strange things like golden gargoyle type things in that house, and her house now is really haunted. I've used a lot of techniques. I told her to do a lot of techniques that you taught me actually, and I really have to get over there and do a big clearing in this house. But I think this came from that original house and went with her.
That can happen.
You know?
That can absolutely happen. So, Gina, you brought up earlier that, well, actually not even on the show, when on the way here, when I was talking to you, you brought up exorcisms. Now, for the purpose of the show, we won't call it an exorcism because the Catholic Church does the exorcism and I'm not a priest. So we will call it spirit removal. Now, when you've done what? I think 3 of them with me, right? 3?
Yep.
When you did it with me the first time, was that the first time you ever did one of those?
Like that, yeah. When you
want to tell people about that, because that was the first one was in Manhattan, or was the first one in New Jersey?
The Jersey.
Okay, yeah, that was an interesting one because that's where you got that the flare with the spirit coming out of me and then going back.
Yep.
That was amazing.
Oh, oh my God, incredible. Yeah, I was like I'm the queen of the flare. Right? I get so many thermal images. I got 15 apparitions walking. I got that. We went at the Stegmeyer Mansion. Is that how you say it?
Were you talking about the Kreischer Mansion?
Kreischer Mansion.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That we just pulled up, me, you, and Lisa. We were just looking at that, and I was just taking pictures outside. We were all in the car. No one even got out of the car. Right. And then I think I stepped up back because I wanted to take pictures of the deer in the yard. And then I just took a picture of the car. And there was a full body standing there of like a bellied man, like a full body that I got on the flare. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm actually looking to the side like, is someone standing there? And
that was awesome.
Crazy. Right. So the flare is definitely my favorite. To see evidence. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know how that started. I really don't.
You've actually never been in the Kreischer Mansion, have you?
I have not been in there. No.
So one of my very good friends, Greg, is we both actually have a very good friend who is part of that now, and so it looks like I will be doing an event there soon. So. That's someplace that you guys need to come.
Yes.
And see, so for a lot of you who don't know, the Kreischer Mansion is in Staten Island, and it's known as the Chop Shop. The reason being is because the Gambino crime family, even the Gotti, they used to use that as a place where they used to kill people. They used to chop them up. They used to hang them in the. One guy got burned in the furnace, which the FBI actually took the furnace. With his remains in there. There's a freezer, like a walk-in freezer downstairs that doesn't work anymore, where they used to hang the bodies and beat them and then cut them up and stuff like that. And there's
you got thrown across the room there, though, didn't you?
That's one of the greatest videos I've ever had. But if you remember, I used to date a girl called Lucifer, and I had it on YouTube, and she took it off of YouTube, and then pretty much took my disc where it was on, and I have no evidence of it at all. But that was interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. So there was 8 of us in at this place, the Kreischer Mansion. There were 8 of us inside of this walk-in freezer, and it's closed and it's pitch black, and nobody could see the person in front of them. The only person that could see was my cameraman because he had an infrared, the light, the camera. So we could see each other, but barely, and so I could feel the energy just kind of like getting pent up. I'm like, oh my God, this is not going to be good. So I felt like the spirit did not want somebody there, but I couldn't get it to say who. Okay. So I said, do you want Alex to leave? Nothing. Do you want Beatrice to leave? Nothing. Do you want whoever I said to leave? Nothing. After I asked for the third person, the cameraman, who should have kept his damn mouth shut, says to me, he was actually my cousin. He said, "Do you want Chris to leave?" As he said the word leave, there was like an energetic explosion, and all 8 of us went flying.
Wow.
2 of the girls went flying through the door and on the floor, and one of them couldn't get up. She felt like she was being held down. I hit the wall so hard that I dented the whole thing. And we
Oh
got
my
the whole
God.
thing on video. And I put it on YouTube, and it went crazy, and now I don't have it anymore.
That's horrible.
Well, what do you expect from somebody named Lucifer, you know? So
So maybe history will repeat itself.
maybe, and I
We
would
can
love
go
it.
back and
Well,
Another thing that happened at that place was Victor Furman was in there, and there's a room where it was like a bar, and it used to be where it was like a gentleman's quarters up there, and many people throughout history, in history, people know about, have gotten shot up there. And at one point, Victor just went, "Ah!" and he hit the ground. He felt like he got shot in the back, and
Oh
we
my
had to help him up. It was pretty intense. Now, was it real? I mean,
Victor, I don't know.
I don't know. Right. So was it real? I don't know 100%. But what I can say is when it happened, our equipment in that room did go off.
Okay.
So that was kind of interesting.
That's the thing.
that
You
was
need
something
all
happened
those
there.
that's why we have all the other equipment. I mean, just what I showed you tonight, we have so much more. There are things that measure hot, cold. When someone says, "Oh, there's a cold spot," we have a thing that can measure that. So many devices. So when you have those things again going off, it's all about validation. So it's not what personal experiences are one thing. They're great. They're awesome to have, but it's to validate them for the purpose of research and to be able to have some proof, is another deal altogether. So when you have all those things going off and then that happens, yeah, especially if there's a mark too,
where
like
do you sell all their equipment? Do you have a website or anything that you can say where people can go?
Yeah, we got several websites, but we have Vortex Ghost Gear, www.vortexghostgear.com. We have Ghostly Excursions, where we take people on ghost hunts, and that's ghostlyexcursions.com. And then we at the Fox 10 with Gina B and Mama D, that's on every Thursday, 8 to 10. That's YouTube, Twitch, and
Facebook Live.
Facebook. And then we have our Anchor FM venue. So there's a lot of just audio only places that it goes to. And Ghost Detectives. So it's Ghost Detectives TV.
GhostDetectives.tv.
.tv. I always mess that up.
Well, we only got a little bit more than 6 minutes left. So, and there's 2 questions I really want to get to. What haunted place did you investigate that you kind of felt let down by? Didn't live up to expectation. I know there's a couple that I've been to that I thought would be worse than it was, and it just wasn't.
You go first. I have to think about that.
Boy, I mean, there's a lot of times that I go into big places that let me down. It just it depends on the night. Yeah, I mean, it never really happens on cue. Like Penhurst, I can go there sometimes and not get anything, and then other times, you have stuff thrown at you and crazy stuff going on. It really, depends on the night.
Yeah, I just why do we go that? I just don't want to ruin people's reputations or anything like that either.
Well, okay, I get that.
Some places in Gettysburg where people are always like, "Oh, it's definite." I mean, to me, I think anywhere in Gettysburg is haunted. I mean, just standing in the road, I got a UVP on my flare. When I have my broken leg. So it doesn't matter. It's not really so much spots and locations. The spirits aren't going to dance on cue.
Right, that's a fact.
But when it does happen, it's incredible.
It is incredible, and you just made me think of something. So I did an event at the Kreischer Mansion one time. There were 3 paranormal teams. There was New Jersey Paranormal, who I don't have much respect for. There was another team from Manhattan who did a wonderful job, and there were people that were there with me. Actually, the night I met Tom Galissi, and one of the teams were really provoking the spirits. And at the end of the night, they got nothing.
Yep.
And then when we compared evidence, the other two teams, my team and the team, I think they were from Manhattan, got so much evidence. And I told myself, well, that just goes to show you catch more flies than honey. The provoking thing just, first of all, I think it's disrespectful. And I don't think it works as well. What's your thoughts on provoking?
Oh no, not allowed. Not at all. Yeah, major things when you go on investigation. Absolutely no provoking. Introduce yourself. You're talking to someone's loved one.
Right.
It could be your loved one coming with you. You don't know. So, you really have to be respectful, and you will get a conversation back when you talk to them that way. And don't go inebriated. Don't go, don't do drugs. Don't do anything like that.
Right.
You're an easy target for like an attachment. Right, and you know about those because it can happen, so those are the two main things right there that we will throw you out of one of our events if you're doing
And
that.
I've thrown people out of events for those reasons.
Right.
For sure. I want to answer the question that I asked you guys because, I don't think I'm going to ruin anybody's reputation. But when I went to, I was with the Maury Povich show, they sent us to Lizzie Borden's. And I got to be honest, it did nothing for me, nothing. But then when they sent us to Waverly Sanitarium, that place was that was insane. It was absolutely insane.
5 times I was supposed to go to Waverly. Each time someone died, some major catastrophe happened that I didn't go. I'm not tempting fate anymore. I'm just like, nope. Waverly can live without me.
The place is phenomenal. It's hard to get EVP recordings because there's bats in there and you hear them. And it's a little bit wild and whatever, and it's dark and it's absolutely amazing. For those of you who don't know about Waverly Sanitarium, it's in Louisville, Kentucky. It's an old tuberculosis hospital that had over 77,000 people die there. All right, there's a tunnel known as the Death Tunnel, and what that was they had so many people coming in from tuberculosis that they didn't have beds for them. So the people that were just about to die, they were like really just about to die, they would put them in this basket with wheels and let them roll down. Did you know this?
Yep.
Roll down, and they would just dump them and let them die. And that's how they made room for the new people. It was crazy. And my favorite story about that place is we were there with the Maury Povich show, and it was me, my brother-in-law Anthony, and a guy filming us. And we went into the morgue, and I wanted to lay down in one of the, where they put the dead bodies.
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law's like, Chris, you can't do that. That's crazy. I'm like, listen, Anthony, take it easy. Who am I? I got this. You know me. I'm crazy like that. So the camera guy was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. I said, listen, all you have to do. He had his light. I said, all you have to do is video. I get in there. I start channeling a spirit. The camera guy ran out, left me and my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law had a little friggin' flashlight like this. Here I am channeling a spirit that died from tuberculosis. I'm in the drawer. My brother-in-law shaking me to kind of like get me out of it. And the guy friggin' left us. And it was like unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah, the Booth brothers made a great movie there. I love that. Joni's written books about there.
Joni's a nice woman. She has some really great books.
She does.
So listen, we only have like a little bit more than a minute left. So let's get this in quick. I want you to let people know any events that you have coming up that they can be part of if they like it and how they can.
Well, ghostlyexcursions.com. We'll be posting stuff there. We're trying to set some stuff up now. Now that COVID is over and a couple other things are over, we can actually get our lives back on track. So next year we're going to be starting to do some things. Maybe we're going to get Penhurst Paracon back up and running again too, which will be huge.
And what do you think? Do you think we could get a Para Party 4 going?
And we could probably do that. I would love to do an event here at the house too.
I tell you all the time. All you have to do is give me a weekend, give me like a month in advance. We'll plan it. We will be there.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because in my memories the other day, I don't know if they came up in your memories, but when we did the psychic development class at your house, we had like 25 people there in Massachusetts. All the people wrote about me came up on my memories. It was cool. But we only got 5 seconds left. I got to say goodbye. We
Aw,
love you guys.
good night.
We ran
Love
out of
you.
time.
Hope
Have a
Love
good
you
night,
guys.
see you
everybody.
in December.
I hope so.
We just.